Well, good afternoon. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today out here in the vegetable garden. It's a beautiful day here in early spring. And so today I wanted to share with you some tips and ideas on how to plant gypsy broccoli. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. So this morning I visited Ray's nursery in Telford, and I purchased these transplants or seedlings, and there's 6 of them here, and they're $1.60 a pack. So I spent like $5 for 5 of these plants. You know, if you're short on time on your schedule, there's nothing wrong with buying transplants, or you can also start them by seeds indoors. But the gypsy variety here is what I like to use in my garden here. It matures in 68 days. And it's a heat tolerant variety which produces uniform domed heads. And so here in the garden here, I was laying out my garden bed here, and this low tunnel hoop house that I'm going to be planting these in. And the low tunnel hoop house, the garden bed size here is like 4'6" by 15 feet long. And again, I'm going to be planting these 18 plants about 18 inches apart, and then the rows were 2 foot apart. And then I'm going to be covering these plants up with my spun bonded polyester to keep the cabbage butterfly off, you know, the looper worm, or even the aphids, because they'll devastate these plants. You know, they love the plants that are in the brassica family. And so I'm growing this in my composted leaf mulch that's amended with topsoil. And the topsoil helps add minerals to the soil. And I went through this soil with my garden fork to make sure it was nice and loose. And then I also amended this soil with my alfalfa pellets and some soybean meal. I did a video on that a little while ago. And so these plants are all ready to be planted in the garden here. So what I did to lay out these rows is I came in 12 inches from my garden bed here, and I put these are fiberglass tent stakes, or rods that I used to use for camping, and I've gotten some of these at auction, but they're great for marking your rows. And I came in 12 inches from each side, and then I went another 2 foot over. And then I have this pole here that I marked out every 18 inches on center. And so I just took this and screed it across where these poles were to give me a mark or line where these are going to be planted. And then I have these 18 inches apart. And so I now have a location marked on these where I can plant these. So I'm going to go ahead and plant some of these. And so I ended up planting this side here, and then I moved my pole over and started going to plant this edge over here. And again, this is marked out every 18 inches apart. And so you just need to line up where these plants are going to go, and it really makes it simple. I have one more over here I have to plant. But I'm planting a total of 18 in this bed. Sometimes these don't come out real good, so you got to kind of cut the sides open. I just tear out the side. And where I had these poles, I was able just to take this pole and screed where I needed to plant these, so it made that really easy. This is I ripped down a 2x4. It's about 1.5 inches wide by 1.5 inches. And so I have 3 more plants to go here. And so I'm simply just going to make sure these pull out of the pack okay. You know, you can use a a trowel or something if you need to, but I like using my hand because the soil's nice and loose. And like I said, sometimes these pop out easy, sometimes they don't, so you gotta tear the pack open. And you just want to lightly, gently firm up the soil around these plants. And let me tear out this one more also. I have one right here. And so I'm going to grab my watering can and start watering these in. We're going to get some rain in the next couple days. And so with all the plants in and they're all watered, right now there's no wind, so I'm going to try to grab this spun bonded polyester and cover these hoops up. It always seems to be inevitably get windy when I go to do this. It almost never fails. So I need to put some more brick around these edges, but it's starting to come together here. My rolls here are I buy a big roll from Rainflow in Lancaster. The roll was like 11 feet wide by 500 feet long, which usually lasts me 3 to 4 years. I only pay like $130 for that roll. It was very affordable. And so I went around the low tunnel hoop house and I tidied up the edges. You want to make sure that you have enough weight around these edges because it can get pretty windy and blow off your covers, and you don't want that to happen, of course. And so let's just take a little closer look at this low tunnel hoop house. And so another nice thing about these hoop houses is that they're going to protect these broccoli plants from some of that early summer heat. So anyhow, I hope this video was able to give you some ideas on how to plant gypsy broccoli in your garden, and also how to protect those little tiny plants, those little babies from, you know, those garden pests that would normally destroy your plants, you know, like the cabbage butterfly or the aphids, and so on. Or this will keep the deer off, or you know, any small critters. So anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. And you can also visit us at Plant Smart Living to learn more about gardening and how to reclaim your health. So anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.